They're racing immediately. But a champion becomes a legend. But Diva wins it again.
Yes, yes, yes. Wins the Everest. Glen Boss wins another big one.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. Remembering by this stage, I've had a bit of champagne.
Good.
Just for the record. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Who's the Boss? I'm Julie Snook, and in my household I am the boss, but in this household I'm clearly not the boss. Instead, it is the man that this show is named after. He's a legend in the racing industry, in the Australian sporting industry, one would say. Glen Boss, how you doing?
Snookie, welcome to my world.
I'm in your world. No. I can't believe... What a world. What a world to be in.
Yeah.
How good is this? You've got your own show, Who's the Boss? Why did you want to do this?
Well, I know a lot of sportsmen, and not just sports people, but people I've met on my journey, and a lot of their stories have never been told. You know, and I know, and this medium is growing, and I thought there was a real void in the area of racing stories, and racing stories are unbelievable. You just don't know where you're going to go. You start on this little journey and you don't know where you're going to finish. So I want to tap into those people and let them tell their story, because a lot of them have got some amazing ones. And
you've got some all right stories yourself. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a wonderful journey, you know, and since retiring, it's kind of funny, Snookie. It was one of those things where the racing gave me everything. It allowed me to have a great life, travel around the world, do the things I did. So this is kind of like my chance to give back to an industry, or, you know, to say thank you, you know, in a way. So, we'll get some cool guests on.
We've already got some good guests lined up. I'm so excited to chat to them. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But you have been out of the game, out of the saddle, so to speak, for a couple of years. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm doing some work for Ladbrokes in their content. They've gone crazy with content.
They're so good at content.
It is unbelievable.
Too.
So it's like walking onto a movie set when you do stuff, you know. And so it's a real different genre for me. And I had to learn very fast. Obviously, I was kind of in front of the camera a bit when you're riding, you know.
Just a bit.
Yeah, but this is completely different, and so I'm really enjoying that process. I do a bit of guest speaking, take my cups around places and let people have a beer out of them and a champagne like we will. We're
definitely going to be doing that, because just to have, well, I mean, you're all right too, but just to have the cups here is quite special. I know you are used to it, but to have them sitting here and to know the stories behind these three cups in particular is quite extraordinary. Yeah,
I don't take that stuff for granted. Like, I'm so privileged, you know, to have that amazing athlete Mackay walk into my life and take me on this journey, you know. And yeah, I mean, I have so many stories that no one will know, you know, and I want to tell those stories because it was a massive part of my life. It changed my life, you know, these three little babies here, and I like to take them out there and let people have a drink out of it. And honestly, they can't believe that I'm actually doing it. They go, hey, these are the real ones. I say, they're
weighty.
Yeah, real gold, and let them have it and let them enjoy it, because that's what they're there for. They're to give people joy. And that's what the Melbourne Cup actually does. Yeah. You know, for a couple of minutes on the first Tuesday in November, we all become Australians. Doesn't matter what walk of life, gender, whatever it is, you become an Australian for a moment and you watch the Melbourne Cup. It's what it does. So I don't take this stuff for lightly. I love it and I embrace it.
Well, I feel like our new home here. We've moved quite quickly in our relationship. We're now living together in this little space. It feels like we're sort of, in your living room. We've got some great moments there. We've even got the Everest up there. Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
I remember when you won that, chatting to you afterwards. You were pumped.
Oh, my eyeballs are like dinner plates that day. It's very rare that you get on an athlete that can break 10 seconds. Like, it's reserved for, I'm only talking like the So You Thinks, the Winxes, Black Caviar. Like, only the very, very special can do that, and he did that as a 3-year-old. Probably one of the fastest I've ever been on a horse was that day. And you wouldn't believe it, Snookie. I only rode him twice in my life. Once was in a gallop before that, and then the Everest, and then unfortunately he bowed a tendon and had to retire.
Well, he really changed the whole approach to the Everest too, because 3-year-olds now on the Everest. Anyway, we've got so much to talk about.
Oh.
We've got so much racing to talk about. We've got so many guests to bring on the show for you. If you would like to follow us, which we'd love you to follow, listen, watch everything, Who's the Boss Pod. Who's the Boss POD is where you can find us on social media and anywhere you get your good podcasts from. This is going to be fun. What can people expect, do you think, in your words, from Who's the Boss?
The unexpected.
Good answer.
That's the one, because I've got, in my phone, I've got some groovy
Bossy's
people
black
that I call.
book is quite
Yeah,
something.
and then they're friends, and I'll just lean on them. And I think being friends with a lot of these people, they'll be comfortable and they'll probably say some things because I think they'll feel comfortable in saying stuff. So
It's a very comfortable setting.
yeah, it's a beautiful land, must I say. But no, I just want to, and guess what? I get fascinated by it too.
Yeah.
I love listening to people's stories and I get so involved in it. You forget that you're in a setting like this and you're just having a
What
chat.
do you mean? We're just at home, aren't we?
That's what we're doing.
We're just at home having a good time. I've got to say, you've always looked sharp. You always dress impeccably. But you're looking very fit. Do you reckon you could still just go out there and do your thing?
Snookie, it's funny. It'll be 3 years coming up this spring. And I've had moments where I thought I should probably go back and have a crack.
You reckon?
I'm 50. I just turned 55. So
Age is just a number.
it is, but I still can train like the best of them.
Do you enjoy training still?
Yeah, I haven't trained much, but when I do, it's a bit of an addictive thing.
Yeah.
I haven't put on much weight. I'm only about 59 kilos.
Yeah.
So it would probably take me 3 months to get back into race fitness, but I reckon I could do it. But the problem is, I'm looking at the talent that we have at the moment, the pool of riders that we have in Australia at the moment. I would not be able to reach that level again.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be coming back to ride at Hawkesbury or, I want to come back and be a Group 1
You're
rider.
a big stage rider.
Yeah, and I couldn't reach that level now. I can't get there. So I'd be disappointing in myself.
Is there a horse or a race that you would come back for?
Okay. Yes. I love this horse called Via Sistina.
Oh.
I've been all over it for 12 months. And I watched it trial and I rang Chris. I said, mate, that trial like the Cox Plate winner. And he got back to me and said, well spotted, but it was easy to spot. And I can't believe she was first up the other day. And I knew that J-Mac went for Fangirl. That was probably the obvious choice. I was nearly going to ring him and say, mate, I think you've gone the wrong way here. And she was 11-1 and sailed up on the inside. Now, it all went wrong for Fangirl, and she probably should have won, but Via Sistina to win over 1,400 metres, I'd say it is the Cox Plate winner at this point. I'd come back for that one.
There you
You
go.
heard it here.
Who's the Boss Pod? That's where you heard it here first. Via Sistina for this year's Cox Plate. But we've got so many guests lined up in this show. It is going to be an incredible series ahead. Your first guest, your first show is your best mate.
Yeah, my best mate, and arguably one of the greatest halfbacks that ever played our rugby league, and Alfie Langer. We've been mates since I was 18, and we've gone on this journey together. Like, he was my hero, my idol, and then he became my best mate. And I used to go to the footy and just watch him do spin his web and do his dance around that field. And I used to get quite emotional about it because that's my mate out there, And then when he retired, he kind of watched me go on my dance, you know what I mean? And so he allowed me to go into his cauldron. He took me in the rooms before and after games. I was with him a lot, celebrating those, grand final wins. So when I was celebrating my grand final wins, Alfie was along for that ride too. So we complement each other in that respect. But, he's not only my best mate, but he's one of the best human beings I've ever met, ever. He's just such a beautiful person.
All right. Well, here's Alfie Langer. He won 4 premierships. He scored 100 tries. He represented his state. He represented his country. And he's still very much in the game as well. He's one of the great rugby league players and personalities. I'm talking about Alfie Langer. Welcome to Who's the Boss?
Thank you, guys.
Woo! Not only welcome to Who's the Boss, but the first episode. Of
Yes,
Who's the
amazing.
Boss.
Great mates, but great to be here.
So how did your mate there convince you to be here for this?
Well, because we're great mates, but I can still remember the day I first met him.
Oh, no,
It was at Melbourne's nightclub down the Gold Coast. And
I
I had
would've
to
been-
actually carry him out of the nightclub.
I was
so-
18.
So
18. He
that's-
carried me out like a baby. I literally couldn't walk. And all I remember is like this little powerful bloke just picking me up. And I was like a limp. And he carried me put me in a taxi and I got home.
What was
send
your
him home.
poison of choice that night?
We were drinking vodka and orange.
Vodka and orange. We had a couple of ouzos.
Yeah.
Because I started off on the
Ooh.
ouzo lemonades back in them days, and
Yeah.
the vodka and orange chasers at the end. So,
Yeah.
but I know you weren't a big man, but
Nah.
So,
I had to get
sorry.
him out of there, and he was very sick for a couple of days.
Just while we're on big men and height.
Yeah.
One's a jockey, one's a footballer,
Yeah.
both Hall of Famers. Which one's taller?
I am.
Glen is.
Show us. Stand up.
Yeah.
Here
Prove
we
it
go.
to me. Back to back. I want to see this. And wait, Alfie, you carried him out like a baby?
Yeah, I was a lot
And
stronger.
it
I was,
wouldn't have been- it
I was
wasn't-
on the
It wasn't
roids
the
back
first
then.
time this happened either. I'm telling you. And we've been best mates ever since. Like, you know, number one, I admired him like immensely. Like was a hero of mine. But then we've become best mates. He was best man at my wedding. You know,
Really?
yeah, we've done it. We've done a lot of good things together.
And then I used to sit
Wow.
on the fence at Bundamba in
Yeah.
Ipswich and get the nod on which ones to
Yep.
back, and
Oh.
he still owes me money for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, right. Wow. So this goes way, way back.
Oh,
So
way
we
back.
could go anywhere here.
Oh, we've done some funny things together over the years. Probably some of them we won't be able to repeat on the show.
No, you absolutely can.
But yeah, we can, can't we? It's
These- you
mine.
can do whatever
This
you
is
want.
my show. We can do whatever we
Your
want.
name is all over
What do you
this
need to
thing.
know?
Your name is all over this studio.
Yes.
Bossy, why did you want Alfie here first up?
Well, number one, he's soon to be an immortal. Like he's, well, arguably, yes, let's just say he's the best halfback that's ever played the game.
Yep.
He's my best mate. I love him dearly. Alan's been that guy that if I'm in a bit of a shitty spot, I ring to have a chat. I ring him when I'm going bad. I ring him when I'm going good, and you know, like, and a bit of vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we talk constantly, and you know what, this bloke, I've never had a down moment with him. Like, it's fun. Everything we do is fun, and we just enjoy each other's company.
How was last night?
Bunk beds weren't really good. Had to give him a leg up in there another night. But in saying that, as I said, whenever we catch up, we enjoy having a good time together and enjoy having a beer and talking about good times, sad times, bad times. But at the end of the night, we go to bed very happy.
Yeah.
Well, my beverage of choice, gents, is
Oh.
champagne. I see a bottle of champagne. I also see some rather unique serving glasses, shall we say.
Yes.
What did you bring with you, Bossy?
Well, I bring my babies.
Your babies.
3 babies, and obviously, it's very appropriate that we have 3 people here.
It's fair.
We got champagne. We got Melbourne Cups.
Do you have a favourite of the babies? You're not meant to have a favourite of the babies.
Not really, but the 05 that's history making,
Mhm.
and the 2, obviously having the 2 is fantastic, but the third one, like,
I think the third baby's the best because
yeah,
I was there for the
yeah,
second 2. I was at the Sunshine Coast races for the first one,
mm.
but I was there for the second 2,
Mm.
and I had my biggest day ever on the punt when the third one won.
He was there for the celebrations. Honestly,
Wow.
he was along for the. We went we did.
You
celebrate,
need
but
to
we're
you
about
pour the champagne,
we're about to do
Alfie.
it.
You tell me about the celebrations because as a racing enthusiast, as any sporting fan, I guess in Australia or even across the world, those scenes from that final Melbourne Cup victory with
Oh, it was
Maccabi Diva
amazing.
was just incredible to watch. What was it like to be a part of?
I was up in one of the main grandstands at a table just with a mate. We went down together. And I remember Bart Cummings and all different celebrities sitting on these tables in this
Are
members'
we going
room.
to toast the cups? Is this happening? Oh my goodness!
Thank you, mate. We'll go.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Sorry.
Yes, I was there that day.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers.
guys.
And welcome. Let's do this. Welcome to Who's the Boss.
Good grape. Ooh. Good grape. Doesn't go with me vodka Red Bull from last night.
Go on, Alfie. Tell us.
Yes, I was there that day, and just because I was a bit of a desperate punter back then, having a good time, enjoying, and just winners just kept coming all day. So we just had this one of these runs, and then when the horse, I already backed the horse at I think it was 4 or 5 to 1 the previous day, and I had one of my bigger bets on it, and to see it win and the way it won, and the crowd and Bossy, up in the stirrups, it was just an amazing day, and I just love the celebrations after the good times, with the family and friends and the owners. It was just a great night.
What about for you, Bossy?
Oh, yeah, it was made more special because obviously we went on and won the trilogy, but, Alan was down there and, because like I said, he's been a big part of my life. So to have him there, to come and celebrate with Tony Sanic and all the owners and we're at the Crown, honestly, it was one of them nights where I didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
There was not enough hours in that night because we just partied and celebrated.
And the best thing was we didn't give our winnings back at the casino.
No.
So we were just drinking and having a good time.
Yeah,
Funny how that happens when you win a Melbourne Cup. But I remember so many times being at the track or watching these moments in your living room. And I remember, for Winx's final run or Black Caviar, the emotion that overcomes you as a sporting fan, as an Australian, that's something. But to watch your best mate.
Yes, and it was one of those sporting moments, one of the greatest sporting moments I've seen as a rugby league player.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of rugby league games, a lot of grand finals, but to go down to, one of the best races of the year and to see that horse win 3 in a row, it was quite remarkable, and just the way it won, and certainly that last 100 metres when it skipped away a bit, it was just great to see.
Well, Snookie, for me, it was like, as I was a young guy and learning my trade as an apprentice and then sort of early years, I was watching in the stands. I was in the rooms before they go out. So, and grand finals, go and watching Brisbane winning grand. So I was sort of privileged to be watch Alan go around and do his magic on the field. So, and then when he retired, he come and watch me do my stuff. So it was kind of, the coin was flipped, and it was so, because I was nobody at the start.
Yeah.
But Alan was the greatest player in Australia, and so he's the doyen of the sport, and I was just this young kid who had admired him, and then we become mates, and then as he retired, then he watched my career go, so it was great ride.
Alfie, obviously in recent weeks we have had the 14th Immortal announced. What was your response to that? Because Bossy said it a couple of times already, you were shortlisted to become the 14th Immortal. It's something I'm sure that doesn't sit really comfortably, but what's your take on it?
I get a bit embarrassed about it, but it's great being on the shortlist. But I, giving it to Ron Coote, he's been an amazing player back in the 60s and 70s, and he was terrific, and he won a lot of things, and just a great man in his own right. So he deserved it thoroughly. So, to be shortlisted, it was great. But I love what I do. I love playing rugby league. I'm still involved in the game, still with a great club, the Brisbane Broncos, and still got plenty of friends in the game, and that's why I'm still involved. It keeps me young and active, and certainly with these, we got a lot of young, great talent at the Brisbane Broncos. So to see them coming through, probably one of the most disappointing things I've seen was the grand final last year, which was hard to take. But in saying that, hopefully they learn from that in years to come. I know it hasn't been the greatest year this year. It's been probably a disappointing year. But
injuries have taken a massive
big
toll
part,
on us this year.
and the origin period takes a bit out of the play, so it hasn't helped us this year. But in saying that, we can't make too many excuses. A lot of sides have had injuries in their own rights as well, so we just got to work harder, look forward to this off-season. But it's not over yet. We've still got a couple of games to go, so anything can happen.
Are you a hardcore Broncos fan?
Oh, have been ever since, yeah. Ever since they started, I was a kid. When they first come on the scene, I was Brisbane Broncos, and
he had to be.
I was about to say,
but I had to be. But I was privileged. I'll tell you a story about him, and you'll probably get embarrassed about it. But Wayne would be long neck. We come mates with him as well. Wayne.
Sorry,
Bennett,
Wayne. You just want
Bennett.
to name drop there?
Yeah,
just drop that one in.
He'd invite me down to he'd do his final speech before the boys would go out, and you'd hear this what.
That's right.
He would be dry reaching, and then it'd spew, and it'd be strawberry milkshake and McDonald's chips or something.
No,
like that.
was
it
toasted ham,
toasted ham,
chips, And a strawberry milkshake.
Strawberry
That was
milkshake.
my pre-game meal.
Because he'd be sitting in the corner, and the boys, I promise you, they'd be sitting there waiting for him to start, because when he started, they knew he was on. But it was like, what? And he'd be thrown.
When did that start?
Well, when I reached a senior level, I think I was very nervous before a game, so that was my pre-game meal. But always ended up in the on the floor of the dressing room or in a bin. After I started, the boys would have a bin beside me because no one wanted all over their shoes in the dressing room.
He's a captain, and his responsibility is to go out there and lead his boys out there and lead from the front. So it made him really nervous. Unbelievable.
So how are you these days when you go out Origin, when you're out there with the boys and you're running out the water and you're having a chat in the sideline or in the sheds beforehand? How are you these days?
I still get nerves, but not as bad as I used to, and I don't vomit no more these days, which is great.
It'd be a bit of a worry
but
if you did.
To be involved, it's great. And I just love the big games, and certainly Origins are the 3 biggest games of the year, and still to be involved in that. And even this year was that third game. I don't think I've seen a tougher Origin game than that one, and it went for 80 minutes. So to see how solid they play, it is a tough game. And one thing for me, I can be out in the field. I don't have to make a tackle or get tackled. The only headache I do get is from celebrating the wins. So, and I still love celebrating the wins, and that's all part of the game. And certainly being involved with the Broncos and being that bees off the win of the grand final last year was hard to take, but in saying that, we've had a lot of good times along the way.
Talking about State of Origin, I've got a story that, when you were playing Warrington, you were over in England, and we were talking a lot. Alan wasn't probably in the greatest space over there. He enjoyed living there, but he didn't really, I don't think he really enjoyed the culture there. And he rang me up and he said, I've got to tell you something, but you cannot tell a soul. There's only probably 2 people in the world know this at the moment. One's Wayne Bennett and one's Janine Langer. He said, I'm coming back for the 3rd State of Origin. And that, he told me about 2 weeks, or maybe in 10 days, 2 weeks before you come back. And he come back and turned the game on its head and won the 3rd series.
Well, that was in 2001.
Yep.
So I enjoyed playing in England, but it probably wasn't as tough as the Australian competition, but it was still, you had to train, you had to turn up and be ready to play. So to get that call from Wayne Bennett was a most amazing thing. And I spoke to Wayne every couple of weeks. We kept in touch, and as we do today. But to get that call, to be asked to come back and play Origin football again, I always wanted to come back and play for the Broncos, but never thought I'd get a second chance to play in Origin. And to do that, to get Darryl Vandervelde, who was coaching myself at Warrington at the time, I had to go okay with him and the board. Then Wayne Bennett had to okay it with the New South Wales Rugby League to see if they could get an Australian-based player from England back for the 3rd game. So that was on a Saturday morning. That took till the Thursday. So I played with Warrington on the Friday night, flew back to Australia on the Saturday morning, went into camp on the Sunday night, and it was just the most amazing week. The TVs, the papers, everything was about the build-up to an Origin game with me coming back from England. So it's the best week of my sporting career, and certainly the best game I've prepared for. I wasn't a great trainer in my own right, and I remember that week, and I just had to show the young guys that I was back ready to play and ready to beat the Blues. And lucky enough, we turned up on the night and had a great victory.
Are you enjoying coaching?
Well, I'm not really a coach. I'm a water boy. So I'm involved.
Come on now.
I'm involved with the team as an entertainment manager, as per se.
Do you know what I call him? The Minister for Entertainment. He's always been known as the Minister for Entertainment.
But I enjoy, and certainly I love, and certainly being involved with some great coaches over my time. But to be involved with the Broncos, Kevy Walters being a great mate, certainly doing a great job there, being involved with Wayne Bennett. So I know what to do, but I don't profess to be a coach. I just love being involved, having my input, and hopefully that's enough for the day.
In terms of, you leave the game, you stay around the game. We see the likes of Peter Sterling, who goes into commentary. We see Bossy now. He's on the road. He's still very much involved in his sport. How important was it for you to stay involved in the sport, but be around that environment, be around those players, those coaches?
I think the toughest thing was when I retired, to have them first couple of years away from the game, which I did pretty hard. And a lot of players do once they retire from being involved in their team sport, because you're training every day with them, you're with your mates, and you're just in a routine where you get out of that routine, and it's hard to fathom. And a lot of players really struggle today about when they finish it, or a lot of people when they got to retire from their sporting codes. So I did it tough for 2 years, and I probably drunk and gambled too much when I finished, and it was hard to take. And I certainly glad that I got back involved with the Broncos, and that's where I got off that wagon and looked after myself a lot better.
Is there enough support, do you think, for rugby league players when they're making that transition out of the game?
I think there is now. I don't think back then there was. But, in saying that, I had a wonderful time and had a lot of people, including Wayne Bennett, that looked after myself, and great mentors. So I was pretty lucky in that way. But players do get looked after a lot better these days.
So when it comes to the racing world and your little mate, have you owned some horses?
I have. I've had some horses with Bruce McLaughlin, early days. I had some with Kelly Swider, and now recently Tony Gollins. So it's just things, being involved in horses and having a great time. I think that's what, being a rugby league player, it was just something away from the game that we enjoyed. And certainly Gene Miles, Trevor Gilmeister, just to name a couple guys that were involved in the racing game. So it was just a good day out for the boys.
Snookie, I was riding in Sydney, and I was low flying at the time, and Alan rings me up and he said, "Mate, would you do a favour for me? Come up and ride one for me at Ipswich." And I said, "Yeah, of course I'll do that." So, Bossy goes up to Ipswich for one ride, so you can imagine this thing starts $1. What was it, $1?
Well, we got about $3, but
it ended up being odds on, right?
Yeah.
So
simple move. It was
simple
called.
move, and I give it the gun ride, and when I popped out to give it full bore, it blew a gasket. It bled. So we've left it. We left it all there. Left it all there.
So it was a very disappointing day, but to bring Bossy up for that occasion was pretty special in our own right. But to see it bleed, and it was a beautiful black horse, so it was just disappointing, and then it never raced again.
Did you ever get on the blower to him and give him some Alfie Langer advice? Hey, mate, this is what you got to do with this one?
Oh, no, I think we stuck to our own sports. So he did his thing and I did my thing. So we always encouraged each other. And that was
I used to ring him up and advise him on how no more betting, no punting.
Yeah.
Because he was not good at it.
Yep.
He loved it, but...
I loved it, but I was competitive.
Yeah.
I wanted to win. And when I was losing, I wanted to break the bookie. So that was my downfall.
Telling the story about... That's one of the greatest stories. The day before the grand final... You're flying down to Sydney. He was at Doomben Racecourse.
I was at Doomben. It was one of Bruce McLaughlin's horses, Pragon. And we were involved, myself, Gilly, and Wayne Bennett said, always don't change your routine before any game. So every day, because we used to fly out about 3 o'clock. So myself, Gilly, Gene Miles, and a few of the other blokes, we used to go to the races before we jumped on the plane. So this day, we wanted to back Pragon. We thought it was going to win. And the bookies had it about 11-2, and then one bookie rolled it to sixes. So I ran over, sprinted to get the 6-1. I run into the bookie stand, and I don't like my own blood.
Oh no!
So I sort of split my head. Then I felt it, and blood streaming down. Then I fainted.
Jesus!
And you wouldn't believe, because Trevor Gilmeister was out. He's rushed over. He thinks someone's king hit me to knock me out for the game. The grand final tomorrow. So, but I fainted. So
he was ready to kill someone. Gilly said he was ready to punch him.
And he's a madman.
Yeah,
Gilly.
You don't have a stomach of steel.
No, I don't, and still haven't. So
really?
Even when I run out in the field now to see blood on the field, it's not as bad. But if it's my blood,
but
no
Gilly's got him on the plane and said, "You sit there, don't move, like you know what I mean.
Don't say anything.
Hide it from Wayne." And there was footage of it.
There was
Did Wayne
footage on
ever
the
find
news.
out?
Yeah, so they get down to Sydney, And next thing, it's all across the news, on the news, like
Bloody journos.
yeah,
Yes, and then Wayne Bennett called Killia's side and saying what really happened. So give him a kick up the arse, not me.
yeah, that was funny. That was hilarious.
Have you tried Bossy to get out there with the Broncos yet? And like, I could see you as a water boy.
I'd love to do it. Actually,
Why don't you do that?
I'm one of the 13 that they get a special jersey. I think it's Pat Rafter's got one.
Yes.
I got number 7.
There you go.
So I'm actually part of the. I actually am. What do they call it, Alan? It's weird.
Miserable Bronco supporters.
Yeah,
No.
that's it. Something like that.
We could just switch
But
you.
yeah,
We could
I'm
switch
part
you
of the
two
team.
out. You could just run out and be water boy.
I could.
No,
They'd
no
never
one's
know.
taken my job. I want it for another few years
Yeah,
to
it's
go.
the best
But
job ever.
as I say, it is the best place, and I can go on the field, and it's the best place to watch a game from. So it is enjoyable, and it's great. And to see the great plays in the game today, the Nathan Clearys, just to name one. Who else is there? Well, even the young guys that are coming through with all the teams, and Lockie Galvin now with the West Tigers. Just seeing all these young guys, how they come through their grades, and
It has been pretty special to watch Nathan Cleary
Oh,
over
yes.
the years.
He-
And I know it's a lot of pressure to put on one player, a lot of pressure to put on a young player, but he has just been exceptional to watch.
Yes, but I've got to give Penrith, the club,
Yeah.
a lot of credit to win 3 in a row and in line for their 4th one in a row, and to lose plays during that period and keep winning and all year. Just their competitiveness and even the way. And I got to admit, I thought the Broncos were home last year, and to see the way they come back. And Luai was injured, Yo was off at the time, and just the way they built back into that game, it was amazing to see. It was disappointing for us, but if you're a Panther supporter, it was just seeing a Nathan Cleary masterclass for the last 20 minutes.
Have you seen anything like that? Can you compare him to someone else who's come up
Well,
along the
I
way?
think Andrew Johns. I think he's one of the greatest halfbacks. I know there's Peter, and I played against a lot of great halfbacks. Jeff Toovies, Peter Sterling's, Steve Mortimer's, Desi Hasler's, Greg Alexander's.
Not bad names, really, when you think about
Ricky
it.
Stewart's,
Yeah.
Andrew Johns, and they're just great players. And that what made me drive and want to play great was against these great players, which you lifted for. So it was pretty special times. And as I said, still great mates with most of them, and they made me play a lot better when I was competing against them.
Who loves the horses the most?
I do. I don't have a lot to do with horses these days, but I learnt my lesson a long, long time ago. So, but I love a day out at the races, and I love a day out with the boys, having a great time. But as I said, I'm not as competitive on the racetrack as I used to be.
Have you ever actually jumped on a horse?
I have, but no good. Not a racehorse. No, I've jumped on a couple of.
I mean, I don't
horses.
encourage you
No.
to just go out and throw a leg over at Randwick. That wouldn't go well. But
But I'm not I'm allergic. Tell you the truth. So
The hair, yeah.
with
breaks
the
them
horse
out.
hair. So my
Yep.
eyes and
you hear
hay
that
fever.
a lot. Who was a jockey that was allergic? There's a jockey
Yeah,
that's
there is one,
allergic.
but I can't
I
remember
can't
off the
think
top
off the top of my head. There's a
But-
jockey that's allergic. There's actually a lot of. There's even. Did Chris Waller start out allergic?
Maybe.
I might have to ask him one
No,
day.
I think you're right.
We should ask him that question one day.
You know how you say you're the water boy, and this is a question I've never asked you. How much of your input, like you're watching the game probably from the best seat in the house, is Kevy letting you have a bit of a free run to say, do you just do this play, or there's some, I can see someone's tiring at that side, or
Well, if I see what I see, so I'm out there, so I can give so many messages, but I always give his first.
Yep.
And then if we win, they're my messages.
yes, yeah.
If they lose,
Well,
they're Kevy's messages.
He's
But
there,
it's
he's
saying
doing
that
the press.
I deliver their messages first. But if I see something on the field, and I let players know what's happening.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've never asked that question.
I always wonder if you get tired running out there.
No, I used to, because you used to be able to go out all the time. But now you get three cards. You can only go out
Yep.
Wow.
for 3 times each half.
Still.
So yeah, it's all cut down. But
And
you
was
can
it a
go out
time?
but you still can go out when there's tries scored or dropouts or
Yeah.
breakages in the game or stoppages in the game. So you still can get out there a fair bit, but not as much as you used to, because you used to have to run about 7-8 Ks back in the early days. But now you're probably only running half that.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that's a lot.
it's very
Ks.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
No wonder you're looking so trim.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The body's a temple.
You used to be.
It used to be.
Coming from me, who gets tired walking up the stairs into the studio here. What do you make of the spring? We're on the cusp of the spring carnival. There's some cracking Group 1s ahead of us. But we've also just got so much racing, not just in Sydney now, not just in Melbourne, I should say, but in Sydney now too.
Well, I just think it's amazing time of the year, and certainly I've been going down to the Cox Plate for a number of years now, and it's just a great day out. And certainly at Moonee Valley, the small track, and just the people, the crowd, the atmosphere. And the atmosphere in the whole of Melbourne is always, for any sporting event, I tell you,
They do
going
sport
to
well
Melbourne,
down there.
They do, and even when we play that Origin down there, just the people just. Oh, Melbourne comes alive.
90,000 turned up to that.
Yeah, it is, and it's just a great
Yeah.
sporting place to go to. And but in saying that, Melbourne Cup time down there, and we've had quite a few players trips away to the Melbourne Cup Carnival. And
What about
had
that
a ball.
story, Gordy? This is a funny story. So, I think it might have been the third one. You were all down there. Gordy, you were
No,
on-
it wasn't the third
was
one.
it the first one? I think it was the first one,
No,
was it?
you know what the day was? When you come second.
Oh, on Champagne. Oh, that's
Champagne.
right. Oh, my God.
When you kicked to the lead, and
Yeah, I was home.
Muncie,
Muncie
being a
beat me.
Queenslander,
That's right.
got
We
up on
trotted
the
down
inside
there.
of you.
And they're all the boys in the birdcage area, And
I nearly kicked the TV in that day,
yeah,
actually.
mate, don't worry, it hurt me, that one. I promise you. That took me a long time to get over that one. But they're all there, and Gordy said, "Oh, we're just nobodies," you know what I mean? And it's near the barrier, so I'm trotting down there, and I go, "Gordy!" And I'm yelling out, and Gordy's piped up and Bossy. And next thing he said, everyone thought we're somebody, Like he tells that story so funny.
But Champagne was
home.
home. But
That hurt me, that one, Snookie, I tell you.
So there could have been 4 here.
Well, I was riding in Hong Kong, and I flew back, so I've missed all the fanfare. I get in on, I ride there on the Sunday. I arrive in town Monday, catch up with the boys, and she was one of the horses that could win the Melbourne Cup. I give her a great ride, and no one really knows this story. Very few people know. I straightened up, presented her, and she kicked. And I actually could feel myself with this in my hand. I promise you. And this one hurt. And she went wrong with about 150 metres to go. I felt a shortened stride, and fucking little Chrissy Muntz on Jezebel just kept. She didn't actually quicken Jezebel, but she kept maintaining the speed. And my mare slowed down. She broke down in the race. She broke. I struggled to get her back to the enclosure. She never raced again. But I went back into the room after that race. I broke my whip, threw my helmet up against the fucking wall like that, and I actually vomited. I spewed, and I had nothing in me, so I was bringing up virtually vile. I was that sick and churned up because at one moment I had the cup, and the next thing it's gone. So you know what I mean?
and my 16-1 was gone.
Yeah,
too.
I know. He was more gutted than I. He was more gutted than I was.
And you wouldn't believe it capped my Melbourne Cup Carnival.
Ruined it.
I went home on Wednesday because we're supposed to stay on a Thursday. It bled me dry.
Were you known to have a bit of a tantrum or two?
No. But it was just.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you just saying that? Because you've got your own show and you can say what you
Alan's
want.
going to beg to differ. Honestly, yeah, I was.
You're passionate.
I was very passionate, very, very passionate, and people perceived me as very arrogant, but I was confident. I was so confident what I could do on a horse. So, in that is probably a little bit of arrogance, because you trust yourself so much.
But you love winning. You enjoy winning, which is.
Mate, love winning.
But aren't all jockeys to a degree there is got to be a bit of arrogance there to believe that you can do it?
Yeah, it's crazy sport, But yeah, I think any great sportsman has a little bit of that in them, because I used to love walking in the room knowing that I've done more than them. And I'd walk in there like I own the joint. And I'd walk up to delivery, shake hands with them, and they go, Jesus, Bossy's on. Because I'd make sure I got into their space.
I used to love watching you get out of your swanky car and your swanky outfit and strut on in with your bag. You always had your sunnies on and your designer bag, and you are very sharp.
But it was part of the whole thing. I was proud of. I used to dress well. I was proud of myself. I was always,
dressed very well.
Yeah, but
Very
I
well.
liked that because it was.
I was sponsored by Lowe's, and I had to walk around with him.
Boss. Hugo Boss sponsored me.
Yes.
And now here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
We will
So
take
talking about-
sponsors if
talking
anyone's
about-
offering.
Talking about jockeys, I was just recently at the Darwin Cup. I met Tyler Schiller up there.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
a great young talent he is.
Oh, he reminds me of me at that.
Oh,
same
really?
age. Oh my God, yeah. He's just never. He's tinkering all the time. He's never stops working. And he's in a. I mean, I'm not going to say I was a talent, but he is a very good talent.
He went up there for 2 rides.
Both won.
Yeah.
Both won.
And he was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I met him after it. It was bloody beautiful young
Yeah.
lad.
Very level head.
Yes.
Who is a jockey you're enjoying watching at the moment, Bossy?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's only one bloke I love talking about at the moment, and that's James Macdonald. I tipped him many, many years ago. I said he'll be the world's best jockey at one point. This bloke.
Well, he's riding winners everywhere. Wherever he goes, he rides winners.
He is. You know, like in sport, Alan, you know, every 20 years or so, 15 years, someone comes along and they raise the bar. And it's the evolution of sport, business, or whatever you do. People will come along that are just different. People ask me, why is he different? There's so many things that make him different. You know, like I used to talk about Alan. Like every time he got the ball, it looked like things slowed. He had time, like you know, what I mean, it just looked like the whole game slowed down because they just see it so much better. His awareness of where he is, you don't see him get in trouble. You know, he very rarely gets suspended because
Good family man.
he's a great family. And he's the pin-up boy of our sport. He's a beautiful person.
Just on that, actually, I think he and Kate, his wife, they've got 2 young kids now. We've got kids around the same age. And I really noticed a shift in James, his mentality, when that part of his life really fell into place as well. He's got this great home life as well. And he just seems to be enjoying his sport and his craft.
That's one thing. He looks like he's enjoying
He
it.
just seems to be in a different place to what he was a few years ago.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations, and I talked to him a lot. And he even steals some of my stuff because I said to him, "Listen, mate, I know how good you're going to be, but enjoy every moment, every win. Enjoy it like it's your last." And he kind of, because he was a little bit reserved, and now the real James McDonald's coming out. You know, he really celebrates. And I said, "Mate, you've got to bring the crowd into it because you, regardless of what you think right now, you are the pin-up boy. You mightn't like that tag, you mightn't want that tag, but you are the pin-up boy. You've got to go to the races and entertain them all." You know,
it seemed like he was fighting that for a little while. Or he was just quite reserved a few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Whereas now, you're right, we're seeing a different side of him and he's so much more confident. But he just seems relaxed.
Well, you've got to engage people. And like, I remember like going back many, many years ago when I first met Alan, and I'm in awe of this guy, right? He's my hero. But we'd go to a pub or somewhere and there would be 100 people line up getting coasters signed, and he would stay there until every one of them was signed. He would not leave. And I thought, what a life lesson that is. Like, because I'm learning, watching him, you know, he carried the weight of a lot of Queensland on his shoulders for a long time. So I was sitting there watching this guy. God, my God, look at this bloke. He could simply walk away and just go and hide, but he never did. He engaged with everybody. It was amazing.
And I got to say, I've played with one of the greats, which is Wally Lewis. Yep. And to see what he had to go through when I first came into it, like Wally Lewis was up here and we're all here. And to see what he had to go through with fans and spectators and other teams where we played or other fields, and he copped a pizzling. But the way he did it was pretty spectacular. And for him to get through the game and the way he played, the way he led our team, it was I learned so much off Wally. And I got to take... I learned a lot of Wally as a leader, as a captain, a future captain of the Broncos, and to see what he did away from the field where he copped so much flack on and off the field and how he had to live with it was pretty tough for him.
What about your 2 biggest influences in your life? I'd say Tommy Regonis.
Yeah, the great Tommy Donicus taught me how to drink 9 pots in a packet of 25s in a half an hour.
But he was the one that seen you when you were playing at Ipswich, and he said, like, he was the one that said, "This is a champion," and he pretty well.
He coached me at the Ipswich Jets in the Queensland Cup, and he was the one that pushed for me to be in the Queensland side, which Wayne Bennett at that time didn't want me in the side. No. So Tommy pushed for me, and I was lucky Dud Beattie, who was an ex-Australian player. He was from Ipswich and he was a selector for the Queensland side, so he picked me as well. So with Tommy's push and Wayne Bennett didn't want me there.
That's a good story.
It was tough, so I end up getting picked in the side, and to be in there with Wayne Bennett, and then Wayne Bennett, during that first Origin camp I went into, I remember catching the train down from Ipswich because it was the old Roma Street Travel Lodge we used to go into camp, and to turn up there in the train and go in and be in the room with the likes of Gene Miles, the Greg Dowlings, the Wally Lewis, Mel Meninga, Fatty Vorton. It was just mind-blowing because a couple of years ago I'm running on the field, patting them on the back, jumping the fence at Lane Park with me brothers, and to be actually playing with them. And back in them days, bonding camps, and I wasn't the biggest drinker back in those days, so going out with these guys and sitting with them and enjoying their company for 4 nights before a State of Origin game was amazing, but I was vomiting. Yeah. That's when I vomited at training the next few days because I just couldn't keep up with them, but wanted to be in their company. So it was amazing, but then bonding sessions have tamed down now. There's only one night of it.
Right.
Well,
instead of the 4.
What about the story that, like, because Benny didn't know where to put you, like, do I protect him? Because,
in the defensive line.
Yeah, in the defensive line. Or where do we put him, do we, anyway? And he was saying this, and I think you were getting a bit like
well, I didn't know where
sheepish,
I was.
Right? Because, where do I fit in the team? And
Fatty Vorton.
What you tell the story,
Yeah, Fatty Vorton, to his credit, put his hand up, said, he's a Queenslander, just put him in the front line where the halfbacks play. So
and he won't let us down.
From that part, I felt part of the team then.
Yep.
And Gary Boucher was another one that stood up for me. So it was just being part of the Queensland. I didn't really feel part of it for a while, but after that point of the camp, I felt part of it. And as I said, we had a great series that year. It was only, I think, if you remember, Mark McGaw scored that try in the last minute of the first game, and New South Wales won. Then we went to a wet Sydney cricket ground, won the second game in a tight game, and we won the third game. So it was an amazing year. And 87, I still remember it. And Origin's still the best 3 games, but to play in an Origin series for my first game at Lane Park, pretty special besides that year, 2001.
What about the other probably most significant influence in your life is Wayne Bennett? Like, I speak to Wayne, and honestly, the affection that Wayne has for this guy it's almost like a father-son relationship.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
It's funny because when you say affection, a lot of people wouldn't think Wayne Bennett and affection.
Oh, no. People don't know Wayne. That's
Tell
the
us
thing.
about Wayne.
Well, Wayne is a great mate, and as Bossy said, he's probably my second dad. But we talk every week, even after I've had a few drinks at night, ring him late at night, and if he doesn't answer that night, he'll ring back first thing the next day. But he's just a great man. He's just great to get to know. He looks after his players, and that's why he's still coaching at his age.
He's very protective, isn't he?
He is, and he enjoys the players' company, but even though he's going to South next year, he still wants to coach. And that's, he's copping a lot of flack over that, but he just wants to be involved in the game that he loves, and coaching. He loves coaching, and he gets the best out of each individual. And even at Redcliffe, some of the players that he made lift and play above themselves because he cares about them, because he spends time with them, he looks after them, he gets to know their families, what they're all about. So I just think he
plays a game.
Well, he's just
he plays a game with the press, but he's got a wicked sense of humour.
Oh, he has.
Oh my God, he hasn't he? He's got unbelievable. Yes.
And the best thing is to take him out to lunch with the boys, and he'll be the last to leave. He doesn't drink or smoke or do anything wrong, but he'll be the first there and last to leave because he gets pissed on the atmosphere of the guys, and he's pretty amazing. And I know if I wasn't drinking, I couldn't sit there and put up with these guys drinking and carrying on.
Do you like a drink?
I have a couple now.
It hasn't been mentioned.
No, but I enjoy it, as I said.
Well, you're a little bit more used to drinking out of a Melbourne Cup than I am.
Yes, well, we've had plenty of drinks out of them
over the years. They actually fit quite nicely in the hand.
Yes, they do, and certainly when you pass them around at luncheons or functions we go to, it's people are quite amazed they can drink out of them.
Yeah, well, I'm quite comfortable with it. Look, before we let you go, it is our first ep. So we're just going to test some waters here. We don't know how this is going to go. It may never see the light of day again. But I wanted to play a game with you called Rockband, a racehorse, or rude film. So you two are going head to head. Your big shiny heads, head to head.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hang on. Have you noticed your head behind you, by the way, Bossy? What's the size of it?
Oh, Jesus. That's nearly scared the shit out of me.
What a handsome rooster.
Did you, is that being photoshopped or something? You kind of look...
No.
No.
You look young, though.
Just got out of jail by the look of it.
So you two have to give me the answer whether this name is a rock band, a racehorse, or a rude film.
Okay.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go. The first name that I give you is buttocks.
Jeez.
What do you want to go?
Buttocks.
Buttocks. I'm going to go... Horse's name.
What are you going to go? You got to go
I'm
against
going-
your mate here.
Yeah, I'm going rock band.
You going band?
Yes.
All right. It's a racehorse.
Hey!
Buttocks
Right.
was a gelding that raced in the 70s. Still.
Here comes
Nonetheless.
Buttocks coming from behind.
Yes.
Appropriately named. He had a large
He's
behind.
sticking to the rail.
And that is
I
why
would've
you
loved to
rode
call-
them and didn't call them.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to call them?
No, God, no.
Yeah.
That is a tough
that
job.
is
That's
tough
tough,
job.
isn't it?
Mate, I take my hat off to those blokes. They
Yeah.
are incredible. Their memory
Yeah.
and, like, you know, to do that in a 10
And I'm
race
colourblind, so I'll be no good.
Yeah.
All right. The next one. Ugh, I can't believe I'm at this stage of my
I know.
career.
Look, what have we done?
What have we
What
done?
have we done to ourselves?
I'll do anyone. I'm not saying it again because I've already
Oh.
gone viral once in my
I-
career.
It sounds like a rock band.
No, I'll go
It's.
Well, don't give me
Show.
the nod. What does that mean?
I'll go. You go dirty film,
dirty film.
porn.
The show. He's like, the show.
No, I reckon it's a rock
I
band.
think I've seen this one.
Yeah, you probably.
This
have
is
to.
always a risk. It is a rude film.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the bio of that one, so we're
Right.
just going to let that through to the keeper.
So you know when those footy trips you go
It's
away.
an old black and white one.
Yeah,
It's
so vintage.
very
So
fuzzy.
I think
very
we
fuzzy.
1-1. There we
Oh,
go.
my God.
You got another good one here.
My tent or yours? My tent or yours?
I'm going
Well,
rock
it's-
band.
It has to be, obviously, it sounds like a rude film, but I'm going... I have to go rude film, actually. It hits you in the face.
My tent or yours, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
It is a horse. Bred in
Yes.
Ireland, trained in Britain.
My 10 or yours?
Mm.
Okay, well, so we're
Good.
square.
You're square.
Square.
All right.
Oh, the tiebreaker.
Which one am I going to choose for the tiebreaker? Pink Wink.
Pink wink. Pink wink. Oh, my God.
I hope my parents don't find this podcast.
I'm going to send it to him.
What are you going to go?
Pink wink. I'm going to go...
Is it a rock band? Is it a
yeah,
racehorse?
I'm going to go rock band.
Or is it a rude
I
film?
was going to go there. I'm going racehorse.
It's a rude film.
Ah!
So we've got one more.
You
We
got
have to go
one
to another
more?
one.
Got another one.
How did we get that wrong? I mean,
It's
really.
weird.
You know,
Yeah.
it was the obvious one, but
It
we
was.
kind of tried to get away from it. That's why.
Did you think you'd be talking about this when you agreed
Not-
to come and
not
have a
at
chat
all.
today?
Not at
Cool.
all.
You'll never come back again.
Blistered fingers.
Oh, rock band. Rock band. I go first.
Okay, I'm going racehorse.
Rock band.
Woohoo! Come on.
He is a champ for the
Come on,
reason. For a reason. Thank you so much for joining us on Who's the Boss, our first guest.
Yep.
Let's hope there's another guest to follow because that means that people are watching and listening, and that's good.
Wonderful. Thank you, and thank you, Bossy.
My best mate.
Amazing.
Love you, mate.
Thank you,
know
pal.
that.
Imagine seeing you two walk into a bar together. It's like a joke.
Oh, is that? I thought you were going to run.
No, I don't have one. But I was just thinking of those sitting at the pub last night, seeing you two just stroll on in.
Yeah, we do get a few looks.
I would have thought we were bouncers.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at the end of the
Don't
night.
mess
not
with
if
these
you're-
two.
Don't mess with these two. Yes.
Let's have a drink. Well done, guys.
Beautiful.
Let's go.
Thank you.
First ep done.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers,
Can't believe
cheers,
it's time for
Bossy.
me. Cheers, Bossy.
Cheers, Snookie.
Well, that's sort of not a bad guest for Ep 1, really, Bossy, to have the Alfie Langer in studio, and you kind of kept that under wraps that he was your best mate. He was in your wedding?
Yeah, well, we've been very close for a long, long time. And don't worry, we've had this journey together.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. But and he doesn't do this stuff.
I like that. You have the contacts. You have the know. We've got some great guests coming up for the rest of the series, but we'll tell you about that a little bit later on. In the meantime, I want to give a bit of a shout out to one of our brand partners, International Premier Event. Look at you, right on.
I'm wearing the
How
hat.
come I didn't get one of those?
Well, they run a SMIC operation there too.
Tell me about it.
Well, they do all the events like Melbourne Cups,
Mm-hmm.
the footy,
Yep.
rugby league.
That's when
obviously,
you
but
roll out the
Origins.
cups.
Yeah, but they do a SMIC operation. So if you ever need these sort of things, international premier events, they're the only place you go to.
And you'll be working with them for the Melbourne Cup, I presume.
Yeah, well, yes, and Matty Hill, who's the boss there, everything is done SMIC.
Shout out to the boss.
The boss.
Got to give the boss some love. So you can jump onto their website. You can check out their merch too. I like that hat. The navy suits you.
Yeah,
It
I
looks
like
really
this.
quite good. ipevents.com.au. You can buy your corporate tickets. And hopefully you'll see this guy and maybe even me, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Matty Hill, at the races. You just never know. Stranger things have happened. All right, well, speaking of races, let's get to Bossy's Best. Bossy, we are on the eve of the spring.
Yep.
What do you love about spring in Sydney and Victoria?
Everything about it. Everything about it. I love watching the 2-year-olds as they're turning 3, obviously in August. I'd love to watch the progression of these young horses, the ones that are going to step up to the mark, the ones that were just brilliant 2-year-olds and they don't. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like, when you go grade 7 and then you go to high school, grade 8, and you don't see your mates over the summer break and all of a sudden you come back and there's this...
They've grown.
What happened then?
A growth
This is
spurt.
what happens with 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and you quite don't know who's the one. So that's very exciting for me. And then obviously, we start talking about Everests.
Yeah. We
We
start
start
talking about
talking
the
about-
Everest at the start of the year.
Yeah, we do. And the Everest is kind of like the Melbourne Cup. It's got that kind of thing now in a Cox Plate because as soon as it's been run and won, people start thinking about it next year.
Yes.
It's one of those amazing events. And congratulations to Racing New South Wales and Peter Valenti's who come up with this incredible idea for this race. Happened to have won it once.
Yes, we do have an image behind us here on our studio set of you on Yes, Yes, Yes. Did it surprise you? I remember talking to you after the win with Yes, Yes, Yes. Did the hype in the lead up to the Everest and then the response afterwards, did it surprise you?
Not really, because we could feel it.
Right.
It is a different event. And when I won it on Yes, 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 that took me back to 05.
Really?
Yes, it did. It was the same feeling.
Wow.
Like almost every sinew in my body was just like on fire.
You were pumped.
I was pumped. I actually spoke to you after the race.
Yeah.
I come back and I was like dinner plates. I was like, because you realise the gravity of this event and where it's going, and being part of that early part of it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Who are you looking forward to? And obviously throughout the season, we'll talk about this. There's so many races to look forward to in the spring in Victoria and New South Wales. But who are you looking forward to seeing this spring campaign?
Of the rising 3-year-olds, Switzerland, for Chris Waller. I think it will be the best 3-year-old in Australia.
Yeah.
In this, up to a mile, I think that's where he's probably going to sit. Via Sistina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You do like.
Oh, I love this mare. It's if Chris rang up and said, "Would you ride on a Cox Plate?" I would get a comeback. Make a
How
comeback.
long do you think it would take you to get ready for a Cox Plate?
I'd have to do some serious work to get rid of this guts of mine. But that'd be one I'd go, yes, 100%. Chris, sign me up. I'll do it. So they're the two that really grabbed me straight away. Broadsiding. That's going to be Via Sistina's main opposition in the Cox Plate. The Godolphin horse, he is a special. He'll be from a mile upwards. He's a special 3-year-old.
All right, well, why don't we talk about some racing for this week?
Yep.
We'll start in Victoria and we'll go to the Memsie Stakes. Group 1 racing returns, of course, to Melbourne.
Yep.
Now, the Memsie, let's talk to me about that. Previous winners, we're talking Farlap, we're talking Sunline, Your Mare, Maccabi Diva, Miss Finland. So you think, what is so great about this race?
This race is so important to the calendar. History will go back and say, when you watch this race, it shapes a lot of horses' future for the spring. Horses who win it go good. Horses who run well in this race come out and win nearly a major race that spring.
Right.
It's one of those great races where you just want your horse to turn up and run well because you know you're in the right ballpark.
So who are you? Obviously, Pride of Jenny.
Yeah.
Coming off that extraordinary Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
What did you make of that Queen Elizabeth?
She's a superstar, but they all got it wrong. They all got it wrong. Declan Bates is the only one who got it right. And you know what? Full credit to him. He realised, I remember I spoke to him and he said, when I went to the barriers, I knew my mare was a bit hot and she was very, very aggressive, more so than before. So he just decided, well, I'm not going to fight her. I'm just going to let her go with her. And everyone got it wrong.
Yeah.
Like they all got it wrong collectively. You can't blame one person. They all got it wrong. And she was spectacular. Probably the race of the year.
Well, what should they have done though? When you go out, I mean, she was 30 lengths ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, see what happened. She's an unusual animal. She's not very quick her first 200 metres out of the barriers, but then she just gets quicker and quicker. So in that second 200 metres of that race, that's where the race was won and lost. People think it was won and lost at the half mile. No. It was won and lost at 200 metres after the start because Craig Williams on Mr. Brightside just come back to give his horse a rest. So he probably dropped off half a second, and that's when she increased. So then there was all of a sudden when you're talking horses running, 7 lengths is a second, right? So he's come back a tiny bit. He's increased, so all of a sudden there was 7 lengths. So that's only 1 second when we're racing. And then the next filling he increased again. All of a sudden they're 15 lengths off. And then Craig's going, oh, he's panicking now.
Yeah.
But the race is already gone.
Yeah.
No matter what anyone else done at that point, they wouldn't have beat it because the race was lost there. And the only one that ran super out of that race was Via Sistina. She went, other than Prodigy being spectacular, but Via Sistina was unbelievable.
Well, Declan Bates thinks that Pride of Jenny has matured mentally and physically this prep. What is that telling you about her heading into the Memsie?
Well, the thing about Pride of Jenny, and Kieran Maher will be very acutely aware of this, there's no soft runs with Pride of Jenny. She goes out there and just flat out runs. So he's got to have her super fit first up. Because you can't take a horse like her to the races thinking, oh, I'm 80% fit. Oh, this will trip her up because she's going to blow a gasket.
Yeah.
So he gets the super fit. So you know that when you go there in Memsie Stakes, she's going to be a very fit horse. So you're not going to be worried about that. If she's matured mentally and physically, holy shit.
Yeah.
What are we going to see?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it because visually, it's unbelievable to see.
I just keep replaying it over in my head. I can't get that Queen Elizabeth out of my head. She does go up against Mr. Brightside. Yes. She does have more wins against him, but he did get the win over her at the Caulfield 1400 earlier this year. I want to say back in February or something.
Yeah, I'm going to go his way a little bit.
Really?
Yes. The talk from the Hayes camp is he's flying. I watched his trial. I thought, he trialled really well. His first 7 up runs, and then we're talking horses who run in great races first up.
Yeah.
He's won 3 of 7 first up, and he's won out of 6 second up runs, he's won 4 of them. So he's a very good fresh horse. He's very good over this distance. I think the camp with Prodigy will be fully focused on a Cox plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think if she's going to be vulnerable, it'll be this one.
Right.
Because Craig will not let that happen again. Because
the Cox plate will be that target.
Yep.
What do you think of Antino? Jamie Carr's riding the Queenslander. First ride on the gelding under race conditions for Jamie.
Can't win.
Can't win?
No go.
Who are you liking in the race then? Mr. Brightside?
Yeah, I think it's going to set up for an incredible spectacle. I'm just going to go with Mr. Brightside.
What do we
Just-
think of the Hayes boys too? I love
they're
their
flying.
story.
I love these people. I tell you what, they will be a juggernaut very soon.
Yeah.
They're building and building every month on what they're doing. They got a lot of youth, right? So they're very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
They're just visually good-looking
It's
guys.
refreshing, though.
Yeah, and they just tell it as it is, and they've got this incredible. I've been to the place. It's horse heaven.
Yeah.
Up there. So Lindsay Park is just so it's kind of got it all.
Yeah.
It will happen, but the boys are still finding their way.
Yeah.
And what they've done with Mr. Brightside has been pretty special. So they're building on this. They've been pretty prolific at the sales over the last couple of years. So you'll see that coming through.
Yeah.
But they're definitely going to be a powerhouse.
Let's have a look at Sydney racing this weekend. San Domenico Stakes over the 1100. Some exciting 3-year-olds in this one. Stormboy, Switzerland, Gatsby's. I mean, where do you go there?
Well, I think they're in trouble with Stormboy. I've seen his trials and I'm off him. He looked like he might win this race, but I don't know about after that. He looked like
There's just so much pressure on him.
he was just a ready-made 2-year-old. He big and powerful. Tyres were pumped up, and he was very aggressive 2-year-old. And just like I said to you before, Snookie, like these three, the ones that were just there, like Gatsby looked unbelievable the other day.
Yeah,
and Gatsby's like.
I don't mind Gatsby's.
I like him. He was visually that was spectacular, and there's no reason. So he might have been that one that was just there in the cusp as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Boom, comes back as a 3-year-old. He knows his craft, so I'm tipping him. And he's only Chris is like 3rd or 4th string. He's got one sitting at home there called. He's not in this weekend. Called Switzerland, and it's a jet. But I'm with Gatsby. I think he's the horse.
Winner of the Rosebud 2 weeks ago. Let's see if he gets the goods in the San Domenico Stakes over 1100. So we've got the up-and-coming stakes coming up in Sydney on the weekend over the 1300. Yep. It's hard to not get excited about Autumn Glow.
Yeah, another one.
This filly.
Yeah. I spoke to J-Mac.
Yep.
As soon as he started talking about this horse, his voice went up. He went, "This is a jet." So... And this is probably, I'd say, the race of the day in Sydney.
You reckon?
Yep. I think it's a great race. So, but just love what she did the other day. Like, he was posing to the camera.
Yeah,
the other day, and he simply didn't believe how far in front he was because she quickened, but he didn't feel it quicken like that.
Yeah.
And that's it shocked him.
Yeah.
That he was 4 in front. So did it like that.
Talking about Autumn Glow and her last run, J-Mac, he did the little look over the shoulder as he was nearing that finish post. But Wallace says she was ready to race as a 2-year-old, but he deliberately held her back. He thinks she's still 6 to 12 months away.
Yeah, that's the genius of him, isn't he? And he's in that privileged position, Chris, because he's got big numbers and he's got a lot of good numbers, right? A lot of good bullets to fire. He can see a horse like Autumn Glow, and anyone else would be rushing to get it there because it's a superstar,
course,
right?
you'd be excited.
Yeah, of course. But he goes, no. We'll just let her mature a bit, and because I want her around for as long as I can. But he's in that privileged position where he can just go, you know what, we'll park that one, and we'll just produce her in 6 months' time. The late Bar Cummins said, there's one thing you can't buy is patience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Chris has got that ability to be patient and just let that one come. And he probably just forgets about it for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, we better bring that one back in.
Is that what makes Chris Waller so unique in the sense that he does have that patience in his operation?
If I was to start and talk about Chris Waller, I don't know where I could finish. His attention to detail, he's up there. I'd never seen anyone work as hard as I watched Gay Waterhouse. I'd never seen anyone work like this, but this bloke is kind of to another level. He's got this ability. I don't know. It's so many things. He's just got this ability to see stuff, which no one else does. Bordering on genius, to be honest.
Yeah.
Honestly, he is bordering on genius. That's what he is. I just love his company. I love being around him and just talking to him.
He's a nice guy, isn't he?
He's just a good dude.
We should get him on the show. You never know, we might.
Well, he's in my phone book.
Well, he's in that Bossy Black Book.
He's in this little thing here.
Well, speaking of Bossy's Black Book, we do have an epic guest lined up for next week.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to this chat. I think this is going to be... Am I allowed to say who it is? Do I have permission to say, go for it? Okay.
Right.
Do you want to say who it is?
I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Oh, well, because, you grow up in that era watching rugby league.
Yeah.
And Peter Sterling, he's one of those people that you want to meet one day.
Mm.
And Snookie, the people I've spoken to that know him very well, they say, you wait till you meet this guy. He is one of the most beautiful human beings you'll ever meet. Like, just beautiful with his time and gentle, and he's super intelligent. And that's why he played his football. So intelligent, And then you listen to his calls,
Yeah.
Super intelligent. So I'm dying to meet him to find out what's making him tick. And he's got a love for racing. Loves a bet.
He loves his horses.
And he's got a story to tell. So I can't wait to listen to it.
It is going to be an epic one. Cannot wait for that. Some might say a lot of those things about you too. You're all right. You go all right.
I've had my moments.
You've had your moments. Well, I've loved this first ep.
Mate.
It's been so good. Who's the Boss? Please keep following, liking, subscribing, all that stuff at Who's the Boss Pod. We are there where you can find all your podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube, the whole shebang. Follow us on socials as well. Glen Boss, what a privilege. What a pleasure. Let's hope we get to do it again next week.
I hope so. Let's just do our own.
Let's just do it.
We'll just
Whether
do it.
anyone's listening or watching.
Yeah, no, we'll
just
do it for ourselves.
Yeah,
Who cares?
We'll do it. Who's the Boss? Ep 1. Done. Bossy, how good was that show?
Snookie, my head is spinning. Stories. How good.
To like and subscribe, click down here somewhere and make sure you join us for more over there somewhere.
Somewhere.